This young man is a sanitation worker. He was driving with his colleague when suddenly a girl dashed onto the main road. Unable to brake in time, he hit her, and she immediately fainted. His colleague was utterly panicked by the scene, but the young man calmly administered first aid to the girl. Ultimately, he used his superpower to revive her. This is Geo, a young man with mutant superpowers. Besides possessing an extraordinary physique, he can also generate electricity. However, he has no memory of his past and doesn't even know who he truly is. He is frequently hunted by strangers who want to capture him for experiments. The story begins when Geo wakes up, stunned to find his surroundings resembling a battlefield, with bodies scattered everywhere, as if a fierce battle had just taken place. On the ground, a mysterious man with a flaming hand appears. As Geo wonders who this man is, he notices someone approaching from a distance, forcing him to flee quickly. Meanwhile, the man with the flaming hand is taken to a laboratory, where a scientist injects 2 syringes into his neck, leaving him screaming in despair. At that moment, Geo ran to a restroom and quickly tended to the wounds on his body. Suddenly, a flood of memories rushed through his mind, revealing that all the bodies scattered outside were his doing. It became clear that Geo possessed extraordinary power. He pulled out a business card from a charred wallet in his pocket and also found his own ID, though it didn't spark any further recollection. A few days later, Geo found a job collecting garbage and transporting it to an incineration site. Though the work was monotonous, it was exactly what Geo wanted. The garbage they collected was medical waste, including animals used for experiments. His superior often remarked on the cruelty of using animals for testing, lamenting humanity's lack of boundaries. However, Geo found it unremarkable, believing the world was inherently a place where the strong preyed on the weak. This difference in perspective led to a heated argument with his superior, shocked by Geo's callousness. One day, on his way home from work, Geo accidentally hit a girl with his vehicle. He saved her, and this angelic girl was Gu Rome, a police officer from the Major Crimes Unit. Due to her involvement, she had been demoted to the Violent Crimes Division. Gu Rome's biological parents went missing when she was young, and for the past 9 years, she has tirelessly searched for clues about them. A few hours earlier, while chasing a criminal, she was unfortunately struck and injured. When she opened her eyes, Geo had quietly left. However, while saving her, he was unaware that bystanders had recorded a video, which quickly went viral online. This news soon reached Dr. Jung Kwon, the director of research company Human Tech. He and his business partner Chul Soo decided to capture Geo for study. The task was assigned to the man with the flaming hand, revealed to be the assassin Lee Son. Lee Son was a former elite special forces operative who had previously failed to capture Geo, resulting in his arm being burned off by Geo's powers. Dr. Jung Kwon had since equipped him with a prosthetic arm. To avoid another failure, Lee Son brought 2 subordinates to assist in the hunt. Meanwhile, Geo was drinking and talking with his uncle when they noticed someone approaching. As soon as his uncle opened the door, one of Lee Son's subordinates knocked him out. Lee Son then entered and greeted Geo. Before Geo could react, the assassin's men began beating him relentlessly. They pinned him to the table, while Lee Son repeatedly punched him in the face. At that moment, another subordinate dragged Geo's colleague out into the hallway and brutally threw him into an incinerator. Meanwhile, Lee Son ordered his men to inject a substance into Geo's neck. Witnessing this horrific scene, Geo's rage erupted. Unleashing his powers, he flung Lee Son and his subordinates away and immediately fled. The assassin chased after him, grabbing Geo's collar, but Geo floored the gas and caused Lee Son to tumble onto the road. Geo then sped off into the forest, managing to throw off his pursuers for the time being. Meanwhile, after being saved by Geo, Gu Rome brought a gift to his workplace to thank him, but couldn't find him. To her horror, she discovered his uncle's body melted in the incinerator. The police soon arrived at the scene, and since Geo and his uncle were colleagues, they decided to track him down for questioning. At this point, Geo had returned home and was packing to flee the city. Unbeknownst to him, Lee Son had already caught up. Spotting the danger, Geo quickly climbed to the rooftop, skillfully leaping from one roof to another. When he reached a green rooftop, he paused, grabbed a metal pipe, and attacked a subordinate chasing him. Realizing Lee Son was closing in, Geo didn't hesitate. He jumped down and ran, but it wasn't long before Lee Son caught up and cornered him. At that moment, Officer Gu Rome was on her way to Geo's house. Suddenly, Geo darted out from an alley and nearly got hit by her police car. Seeing this, Gu Rome quickly got out and chased after him, but a truck blocked the alley and caused her to lose his trail. Soon after, Lee Son cornered Geo in a dead end. The assassin advanced, relentlessly punching Geo, who couldn't fight back. Then Lee Son pulled out a knife and launched a series of vicious attacks. Weakened and unable to resist, Geo kept retreating. Seizing a moment when the assassin was distracted, Geo lunged forward with murderous intent, his eyes glowing green. His hand gripped Lee Son's, sparking with electric arc. box. Fearing his arm would be burned again like in the past, Lee San yanked his hand back and shoved Geo away, then kicked him off the building. Gu Rom was still searching nearby, and witnessed Geo plummeting from the rooftop. Just before hitting the ground, his superpowers erupted. His body radiated green light, forming a massive orb that cushioned his fall. The moment he landed, the orb's immense energy shattered the ground, caused electrical surges in nearby buildings, triggering explosions, and destroyed cars around them. Witnessing the chaotic scene, Gu Rom was so shocked she couldn't speak. Moments later, she was also injured by a car. Geo collapsed at the same time. Lee San hurried down to check on him, but his subordinate stopped him, warning that too many civilians were around, and acting now would risk exposure. Geo was quickly rushed to the hospital, where he was diagnosed with a broken cervical spine and severe internal organ damage. The doctors concluded he was unlikely to survive the night. When Dr. Jungkwon learned Geo was in the hospital, he was furious. Due to Geo's unique blood type, Jungkwon insisted he must be brought back to their facility, or he'd likely die. Lee San was sent on the mission again, this time joined by a red-haired woman newly assigned to the team. Meanwhile, Gu Rom regained consciousness in the hospital. Memories of her past resurfaced, including a vivid recollection of a young boy in her home. When she confronted him, he used his powers to fling her away. It was clearly Geo. This led her to suspect he might be connected to her parents' disappearance. Determined to uncover the truth, Gu Rom began investigating Geo and discovered he had a record for resisting arrest and was raised in an orphanage. She decided to visit him at the hospital, but Geo was already in critical condition. Doctors were using a defibrillator and assisting his breathing to keep him alive. At the same time, Lee San and his team had infiltrated the hospital, blending in to carry out their plan. After disabling the hospital's cameras, Lee San's team used the excuse transferring Geo to an inpatient ward to move him out of the hospital. However, Gu Rom sensed something suspicious, followed them into the elevator. As soon as the doors closed, the red-haired woman attacked. Unexpectedly, Geo regained consciousness, sparking a fierce fight inside the elevator. When the doors opened, Geo swiftly escaped into a dark corner. Just as Gu Rom was about to find him, her superior arrived and called her away. Moments later, Lee San reached the spot but found only Geo's jacket. Geo had already fled the hospital. However, Gu Rom caught a glimpse of his silhouette and chased after him. Thinking she had lost him again, Geo suddenly stepped out to confront her. Gu Rom rushed forward, demanding answers about her parents' disappearance. At that moment, Lee San caught up. Gu Rom drew her taser and fired, but it had no effect on the assassin, who easily subdued her. Geo considered escaping, but Lee San's team blocked his path. 3 subordinates immediately pursued him. As a train approached, the red-haired woman knocked Gu Rom onto the tracks. Seeing this, Geo unleashed his powers, pinning one of the subordinates to the tracks. He was then crushed by the oncoming train. Geo also managed to save Gu Rom in time. Soon after, the police arrived at the blood-soaked scene, but Geo had already carried Gu Rom away. As she looked at Geo's face, memories of her past flooded back into Gu Rom's mind. At that moment, Gu Rom's parents had told her to stay home obediently while they took Geo somewhere. But even as night fell, her parents didn't return. All she saw was Geo coming back to the house, using lightning to blast her away. What was really going on? Back in the present, the police had started hunting for Geo. Seeing this, he took Gu Rom's phone and used his powers to incinerate it. Taking advantage of the fire alarm ringing, he disguised himself and carried Gu Rom to escape. Elsewhere, through a blood test, the professor discovered that Geo's blood type was extraordinarily complex. DNA analysis revealed traces of jellyfish and electric eel DNA, indicating Geo had undergone genetic modification. As an expert, the professor suspected Dr. Jung Kwon was behind Geo's creation. Meanwhile, after letting Geo escape, Lee Sun faced the wrath of Chol Soo, a covertly influential figure from the National Intelligence Agency, and Dr. Jung Kwon's business partner. Chol Soo had previously freed Lee Sun from prison, making him a loyal subordinate. Now Chol Soo offered a deal. If Lee Sun captured Geo, he would convince Dr. Jung Kwon to transplant Geo's arm onto Lee Sun, replacing his prosthetic. Naturally, Lee Sun was thrilled by the prospect. On the other side, Gu Rom woke up. Instead of thanking Geo for saving her, she attacked him. Geo quickly subdued her, and they sat down to talk. He explained that he had no memories of his past, but recognized Gu Rom, which was why he saved her. He believed she might know something about who he truly was. Hearing this, Gu Rom recounted her past, but she was puzzled about why her parents brought Geo to their home that day. Determined to uncover the truth, she vowed to investigate further. Suddenly, Gio's arm hairs stood on end, a sign of impending danger. It turned out the assassin Lee Sun had tracked them down. Gu Rome immediately lunged at him, smashing a chair against him. Lee Sun grabbed her by the throat, warning her not to interfere, and slammed her head into a glass door. Gio was extremely worried upon hearing that, but the door had been locked and he couldn't get out. Gu Rome grabbed an iron rod and attacked again, locking her legs around Lee Sun's neck and hitting him with a fire extinguisher. The assassin fought back, knocking her unconscious. Just as he was about to finish her, he noticed police arriving and fled. Later, Gu Rome arranged to meet Gio that evening, even covering for him. The next day, a professor arranged to meet Gu Rome. It turned out he used to be her teacher. Now he wanted her help to find someone, that someone being Gio. The professor believed Gio was an abnormal being, and also shared that he and Dr. Jun Quan were close friends in university. Jun Quan later joined an academic society as a founder, but was expelled for unethical human experimentation. Months later, he was arrested for embezzling research funds and illegally trafficking sperm, earning him the nickname Mad Scientist. When Dr. Jun Quan conducted research on human-animal hybrids, he went into hiding after his release from prison. However, the professor's desire to capture Gio made Gu Rome hesitant. She later met with Gio, and after a long talk, learned he had no memory of his past. Determined to help him recover it, Gu Rome suggested they visit the orphanage together the next day, hoping it might jog his memory, as Gio's records indicated he grew up there. The following day, they arrived at the orphanage and asked to speak with the nun in charge. After some conversation, they learned the orphanage had closed down. The nun firmly stated she had never met Gu Rome's parents. However, when Gu Rome asked if she knew Gio, the nun recognized him immediately and became furious, accusing him of setting the orphanage on fire. Shocked, both Gu Rome and Gio were taken aback. The nun even called Gio a demon. Angered, Gio denied the accusations, insisting he had done no such thing. Upon realizing Gio was present, the nun grew strangely terrified and began vomiting. She then rushed to pray to the spirits. Despite Gio's attempts to explain, the nun only grew more resentful and demanded he leave. Seeing the situation escalate, Gu Rome pulled Gio away. At that moment, memories flooded back into Gio's mind. After the orphanage church was set ablaze, with the culprit still unknown, the nun had furiously driven Gio away, branding him an evil demon. That accusation filled Gio with deep anger. In the present, as the nun continued cursing him, Gio's anger surged again. His eyes changed color, and a burst of green lightning erupted, shattering part of the orphanage's structure. Gu Rome quickly pulled him away. As Gio caught sight of a statue, another memory surfaced, and he was overcome with remorse, realizing he might indeed have been the one who burned the orphanage. Meanwhile, Lee Sun tracked them via locator, arrived at the church, but Gu Rome and Gio had already slipped away, earning Lee Sun a slap from his superior for his failure. Gu Rome then brought Gio to meet Professor. After some discussion, the professor proposed examining Gio's body, but Gio hesitated. Gu Rome urged him to agree, explaining that it was a crucial step to uncovering his true identity. However, Gio asked what she would do if the investigation revealed he was responsible for her parents' deaths. Gu Rome replied bluntly that she would kill him. Despite this, Gio consented to the examination. They began collecting DNA samples from him, but as a needle pierced his back to extract a sample, vivid past images flashed in his mind. The more he remembered, the more terrified he became, until he suddenly bolted from the room and ran outside. Gu Rome was baffled by Gio's sudden flight. He explained that strangers always made his skin crawl, but with her, it was the opposite. He felt he could only trust her. Gio insisted he didn't kill her parents, saying that if he had, his instincts would have reacted when they first met. After speaking, he unleashed a burst of electric threads and vanished, leaving Gu Rome confused. However, the professor assured her that once the DNA analysis was complete, they would know if Gio was connected to Dr. Jun Quan. Finding the doctor could unlock Gio's past. Meanwhile, a conversation revealed Lee Sun's history. Once an elite special forces soldier, he had mistakenly thrown a bomb that killed 9 teammates. He claimed it was meant to be a smoke bomb, but somehow it contained explosives, landing him in prison. Chol Su bailed him out. Similarly, the red-haired woman Rana had been a soldier too. During a tactical training session, she accidentally fired her weapon, killing 5 teammates. Though her gun was loaded with blanks, the shots were inexplicably live. Someone had tampered with the ammunition, sentenced to life in prison. Rana was also freed by Chol Su, who promised her new legs if she obeyed him. Despite lingering doubts, Rana never questioned her superior. While wandering the streets, Gio found a business card that looked identical to the one in his wallet. He called the number on it, and a man named Chin Sun answered, revealing he knew Gio well. Shocked, Gio followed the address to Chin Sun's place. Upon seeing him, Chin Sun warmly hugged him, and even cooked noodles for Gio. It turned out Chin Sun was Gio's childhood childhood friend from the orphanage. They had been close, and Chin-sun had exploited Gio's extraordinary powers for petty theft. Chin-sun also recounted the orphanage fire, explaining that Gio was often bullied by peers, which likely drove him to burn the place down in anger. Beyond these fragments, Gio couldn't recall more of his past. Later, while Gio slept, Chin-sun secretly called the assassin Lee-sun. It turned out Lee-sun had previously threatened Chin-sun's life. Knowing that Gio often visited him, Lee-sun ordered Chin-sun to report immediately if Gio ever showed up again. Meanwhile, the professor completed his analysis of Gio's cells and found that his body contained a mix of 6 animal genes, each granting a unique superpower. Over 99% of Gio's biology was engineered by Dr. Jung Kwon, the only person mad enough for such a feat. Despite this, the professor insisted Gio must be captured. If he were to fully unleash his powers, the result could be catastrophic, leading to countless deaths. At the same time, just as Gio was waking up, the assassin Lee-sun arrived. The two immediately launched into a fierce fight. After taking a barrage of punches, Gio's powers surged to life. He tried to escape, but Lee-sun grabbed him. Just as Gio seized the assassin's throat, Rana appeared and injected him with a sedative, saving Lee-sun. Meanwhile, through the Academic Society's website, Dr. Jung Kwon discovered Gio's cell analysis results posted online by the professor. Furious Jung Kwon couldn't believe his 30 years of work creating Gio were being shared without crediting him. Seeing this, Chol-soo promised to take care of the situation. As he and Dr. Kwon were still business partners, back with Gio, he was being escorted to Dr. Jung Kwon. In his haze, memories resurfaced. Gu Rom's father had handed Gio over to intelligence agents who restrained him and drew his blood. Enraged, Gio had unleashed electricity, blowing up their vehicle. Could he have killed Gu Rom's parents? As Gio stirred, Lee-sun injected more sedatives, but they had little effect. Gio unleashed another electric surge, destroying the transport vehicle. He stepped out just as it had exploded behind him, though Lee-sun managed to crawl out, barely surviving. Gio then called Gu Rom, who quickly traced his location and found him. Recalling the professor's advice to capture Gio, she prepared to act but was caught off guard when he leaned on her shoulder, leaving her conflicted. Ultimately, she couldn't bring herself to arrest him, and even let him stay at her place temporarily. Meanwhile, after Chol-soo promised to assist Dr. Jung Kwon, he hired hackers to shut down the banking system's network and the National Research Institute's servers. Shocking the professor, Chol-soo then met a woman named Jung-ah, the founder of Human Tech and leader of a cult that prioritized science over faith. As a business partner of Dr. Jung Kwon and Chol-soo, her goal was to capture Gio to create more children like him. However, Chol-soo soon learned Gio had escaped. Enraged, he repeatedly struck Lee-sun's face, but the assassin remained unconscious. Rana witnessed this, tried to defend Lee-sun, only to be hit by Chol-soo as well. Later, Lee-sun visited Dr. Jung Kwon, requesting to be made even stronger. Despite warnings of dangerous side effects, Lee-sun insisted. Dr. Jung Kwon injected him with a stimulant, and soon Lee-sun's body began convulsing violently. When Rana also asked for the injection, Lee-sun immediately stopped her. Meanwhile, Gu Rom bought clothes for Gio and called the professor, informing him she was with Gio. Without hesitation, the professor urged her to bring Gio to the police station. At that moment, a girl darted in front of the professor's car. He rushed out to check on her. It was Rana. As he returned to his car, Lee-sun ambushed him, knocking him out with a sedative. Lee-sun then handed the professor's room key to a subordinate. At Gu Rom's house, Gio found documents related to her parents' disappearance. The sight triggered more memories, and he shared them with her, though he still didn't know why he had been at her house that day. Gu Rom insisted that Dr. Jung Kwon was the key to unlocking his memories. Elsewhere, the professor was taken to a remote location. Lee-sun forced alcohol down his throat and injected him with ethanol to stage a drunken suicide. Under threat, the professor revealed where he kept a copy of Gio's cell analysis report. Lee-sun sent his subordinate to retrieve it, then injected the professor with another dose of ethanol before pushing him and his car off cliff. The professor was dead. When Gu Rom heard the news, she broke down in tears and was devastated. Just yesterday, she had spoken with her teacher, and now he was gone. She refused to believe he drank himself to death, suspecting it was murder. On her way back, Gu Rom's car suddenly stopped, remotely sabotaged by Lee-sun's subordinate, who then attempted to assassinate her. Through a reporter at the scene, the news quickly reached Gio. Learning Gu Rom had been kidnapped, he rushed to his friend Chin-sun, asking him to stage another betrayal like before. Though confused, Chin-sun agreed. He fed Lee-sun a fake meeting location, prompting the assassin to drive there. When Lee-sun and Rana arrived, Chin-sun didn't show up but directed them to meet on the first floor. Seizing the moment they left, Gio ambushed their remaining subordinate, Taeo. A fight broke out, but Gio unleashed electricity, burning Taeo's hand. Gio then freed Gu Rom, but insisted she escape while he stayed to confront the others. Knowing Knowing she'd object, he shocked her unconscious with a bolt of electricity. He then drove away to lure the others away from the scene, leaving Tayo tied up, demanding answers about the organization behind them. Gio interrogated Tayo, who, hardened by brutal training, refused to talk even under threat of death. Gio punched him relentlessly and tortured him with electric shocks until Tayo passed out. By the time Lee-san and Rana arrived, they found Tayo unconscious and decided to take him back with them. Right after that, Gio began to track them. He quickly reached the grand hall of the research facility. Lee-san spotted him and, after mocking him, launched an attack. Despite Lee-san's swift moves, he couldn't match Gio's mutant powers. Refusing to give up, Lee-san counterattacked and knocked Gio down. Gio was then taken to the research lab, where Dr. Junquan met him. Upon seeing the doctor, Gio erupted in anger. Surprisingly, Junquan claimed to be Gio's biological father and insisted that he loved him deeply. When Gio questioned why he had fled, Junquan explained that Gu-Rom's father had burned down the lab and taken Gio away, intending to sell him. Dr. Junquan denied Gio killed Gu-Rom's father, emphasizing his affection for the man. Gio demanded to know the real killer, but just then, Junquan's watch alarm went off. He told Gio to find the culprit himself, donned a gas mask, and released sedative gas into the room, causing Gio to collapse in agony. Gio was then strapped to an experimental table. The plan was to clone his cells, but his body contained too many impurities. They intended to burn away weaker cells until his body produced 100% healthy ones, suitable for cloning. Juma planned to use her cult's loyal followers to carry children with Gio's cells. However, she also insisted that once the cloning was complete, Gio must be killed, as she deemed him too difficult to control. They began burning away Gio's weaker cells by channeling a massive electric current through his body, causing him to scream in agony. For 2 weeks straight, they relentlessly tortured him. Meanwhile, Gu-Rom scoured for information on Dr. Junquan. After digging into human tech, she noticed something odd. The company's electricity consumption rivaled that of a 30-story apartment complex. Suspicious, she visited human tech and requested to see the basement. The doctor in charge was evasive and denied its existence. Fearing Gu-Rom's discovery, he smashed a cup over her head. Unfazed, she fought back and overpowered him. In the basement, the team had successfully cloned Gio's cells, creating optimal embryos. In 2 weeks, they planned to implant them into cult followers acting as surrogates. Dr. Junquan informed Gio that today was his last day, promising a peaceful death via lethal injection. Unafraid, Gio challenged him to do it, but before proceeding, Junquan insisted Gio must live to uncover the truth about who killed Gu-Rom's parents. With that, he tossed the syringe aside and injected Gio with a stimulant. Dr. Junquan then lied to Joma, claiming Gio's robust body needed time for the poison to take effect. In truth, he knew that if Gio died, he would lose his value to Joma, who would likely have him killed. Meanwhile, Gu-Rom forced the doctor to lead her to the basement, where she discovered numerous animals caged for experiments. She drew her weapon and fought off a group of subordinates. At the same time, Gio regained consciousness and triggered a massive explosion in the basement. Juna and Dr. Junquan fled, but Lee-san stayed to confront Gio. Despite Lee-san's efforts, Gio overpowered him, kicking and choking him against a wall. As Gio escaped the lab, more subordinates blocked his path, but they were no match for him. One who tried to stop him was hurled into the ceiling, and Gio easily repelled the rest. Lee-san refused to admit defeat and attempted to inject himself with another dose of cell-enhancing drugs. Rana intervened and offered to fight Gio in his place, but Lee-san knocked her unconscious without a word. Elsewhere, Gu-Rom found Gio and urged him to escape with her. He refused and was determined to track down Dr. Junquan, the key to unraveling his past. Suddenly, a metal bar flew toward them. Lee-san had returned, now wielding immense power. With a single swipe, he sent Gu-Rom crashing into a room where she discovered numerous infants. Determined to save them, she resolved to get them out of the facility. Gio and Lee-san continued their brutal fight, but this time, Gio's fury had reached its peak. His body surged with electric sparks until he finally unleashed a massive burst of electricity that blasted everything away. Seeing Gu-Rom unconscious in front of him, he rushed to her side. Moments later, the entire room exploded, and Gio managed to get Gu-Rom to the hospital in time. Lee-san was battered and defeated, leaving Rana heartbroken as she cradled him, sobbing uncontrollably. Jumna was equally devastated, having lost 100 billion won on the project, now in ruins. Furious, she blamed Chil-Su, who no longer tolerated her. He knew that if Gio's clones were born, Jumna's followers would worship her as a god, pledging their wealth to her, a sum far outweighing the loss. Jumna denied this, but urged Chil-Su to cooperate, noting they still had fertilized embryos and only needed a new lab to restart. The massacre at the research facility quickly reached the police, with 11 researchers dead and 1 injured. It was the doctor. On television, he falsely accused Gu-Rom of the killings to cover up the lab's existence. Hearing this, Gio caused a commotion commotion at the hospital to help Gu Rome escape. However, Gu Rome insisted on returning to the police station to investigate and clear her name. Gio warned her that the crime scene had been tampered with and returning would lead to her arrest. He urged her to flee with him for a while. Juma, still frustrated with Chol-soo, began sowing discord. She approached Lee San and Rana, offering them what they desired if they worked for her. Both hesitated, needing time to consider. Meanwhile, Gio took Gu Rome to Chin Sun's place. Despite Chin Sun's previous betrayal under Lee Sun's threats, Gio held no grudge. That night, Gu Rome called the police chief, insisting she wasn't a killer and claiming evidence of the secret lab in Human Tech's basement. She urged him to investigate with her. The chief agreed, but as soon as the call ended, he tipped off Chol-soo, revealing he'd been bribed. Gu Rome left quietly on her own, but she couldn't slip past Gio's watchful eyes. At Human Tech, Gu Rome met the chief but couldn't access the basement door. Raising his suspicions, he threatened to arrest her. Suddenly, he allowed Chol-soo's subordinates inside, who planned to kill Gu Rome to silence her about the lab. The chief waited outside. Just then, Gio appeared and, without a word, struck the police chief in the face. In just a short time, Gio easily took down Chol-soo's men, but just as he and Gu Rome were about to leave, the police chief blocked their way. He fired his gun at Gu Rome, but Gio jumped in front and shielded her just in time. Gu Rome wanted to fight back but couldn't bring herself to attack her brother. News of the assault on the chief spread rapidly, exposing Gu Rome's identity. With the police relentlessly pursuing her, it was clear she and Gio couldn't stay in the city much longer. Chin Sun suggested they hide at a place where he and Gio once worked. Suddenly, Gio's arm hairs stood on end, and police were closing in on Chin Sun's apartment. With no other choice, Gio and Gu Rome fled the city. Meanwhile, after days of recovery, Lee San's condition stabilized. Chol-soo secured a new research facility, and Jung-ah selected 3 loyal cult followers to carry the cloned embryos. Following Chin Sun's directions, Gio and Gu Rome arrived at a farm and decided to lie low. There, in another development, the doctor who accused Gu Rome tried to flee the country but was intercepted by Lee San, who killed him in a remote area. When the news broke, it was falsely reported as a suicide due to depression, a cover-up orchestrated by Lee San. Meanwhile, Rana defected to Jung-ah's side, secretly copying data from Dr. Jung Kwan's hard drive. Chol-soo quickly noticed, discovering that the remaining fertilized eggs had also been stolen. Fueling his rage, Chol-soo decided to break away from Jung-ah and sell the remaining embryos, only to discover they had been stolen. Lee San tried to stop Rana, but it was too late. However, Rana didn't hand over the stolen goods to Jung-ah immediately. She demanded Jung-ah help her first by securing Lee San's freedom, hoping he would escape with her. Unfortunately, Lee San was too loyal to Chol-soo, who had promised him a new arm. Jung-ah agreed to Rana's terms. Although Lee San learned of Rana's actions, he didn't turn her in and even covered for her in front of Chol-soo. Meanwhile, Gio and Gu Rome were living a more peaceful life than ever. After months together, they developed feelings for each other, and soon Gu Rome became pregnant. Gio was stunned by the news, hoping their child would take after Gu Rome, fearing that inheriting his genes would lead to rejection by society. Gu Rome comforted him, easing his worries. Gio shared the news with Chin Sun, who was equally shocked. Gio then asked his friend to arrange an ID for their unborn child. Elsewhere, the 3 pregnant cult followers met with Jung-ah to report on their health. They were surprised by how strongly the babies were kicking, but Jung-ah showed no concern for their well-being, caring only that the 3 children were born healthy. Shortly after Gio and Gu Rome took their wedding photos, Gu Rome went into labor and was rushed to a nearby hospital. Unbeknownst to them, the 3 cult followers were also about to give birth, but their pregnancies ended in tragedy. Their stomachs ached intensely and seemed to explode, and all 3 died as the fetuses, too powerful for human bodies to withstand, detonated inside them. This failure shattered Jung-ah's plans once again, sparking a fierce argument with Chol-soo. He decided to cut ties with her, but to salvage the situation, ordered Lee San to capture Gio. Meanwhile, Gio was overjoyed at the birth of his daughter, a beautiful little angel, but his happiness was short-lived. Gu Rome saw a news report on TV revealing that the police had found her parents' remains, solving the 20-year-old disappearance case. The cause of death was determined to be a high-voltage electric shock that struck their car. Gu Rome immediately thought of Gio. When Gio returned to the hospital, he found his wife and daughter missing. Hospital security footage revealed that Lee San had abducted them. Hours earlier, Lee San's group had threatened the baby's life to force Gu Rome's compliance, leaving her no choice but to obey. Gio feared and realized that a murder was imminent. Lee San's group took Gu Rome to a private residence. Surprisingly, the police chief visited her there, even bringing a toy for the baby. Gu Rome was stunned that the police chief could still face her. He insisted Gio killed her parents, but she refused to believe it, finding the coincidence too suspicious. To verify verify the truth, she demanded a DNA test. Lee Sun yanked out some of her hair and handed it to the chief for testing, but it was a ruse. Chol-soo had already prepared a fake DNA report. Meanwhile, Geo went to Chin-sun and explained everything. Knowing the chief was aligned with their enemies, Geo planned to kidnap him. Chin-sun quickly intervened, offering to help Geo instead. Elsewhere, to honor her deal with Rana, Jung-ah recruited a new manager and invited Chol-soo to a meeting. Tensions escalated when the director exposed Chol-soo as the true killer of Groom's father. It was revealed that her father co-founded Human Tech and worked on Project Luca to create a disease-free human race. However, Dr. Jung-kwan's vision of evolving humanity led to the creation of a dangerous hybrid like Geo. To sabotage the project, Gu-rom's father fled with Geo, handing him to the intelligence agency. During the escape, Geo's powers erupted, but her father survived. Fleeing into a forest, he was killed by Chol-soo. Shocked by the revelation, Chol-soo was further exposed by the director for framing Lee Sun and Rana to force their loyalty. Director then pulled out an envelope and urged Chol-soo to return to his hometown, infuriating him. Meanwhile, Jung-ah kept her promise to Rana, demanding she deliver the stolen fertilized embryos. At the same time, the police chief presented Gu-rom with the fake DNA test results, claiming a high-voltage electric surge caused her parents' deaths. Shocked, Gu-rom wondered if Geo could truly be the killer. The chief pressed her to reveal Geo's location, promising to punish him, but Gu-rom staunchly defended her husband, refusing to believe he was a murderer. Elsewhere, after Jung-ah's threats, Chol-soo lost control and ordered Lee Sun to slaughter her people. Though Lee Sun had been freed, Chol-soo reminded him to stay loyal until the end. That night, Lee Sun confronted Rana. Aware of her actions, she pleaded with him to start anew and escape together, but he refused, knowing Chol-soo would hunt him down. Instead, he warned her to leave Jung-ah's house, as a massacre was planned for the next day. The following day, Chol-soo revealed his ambition to capture Geo and sell him to Japanese buyers for a high price. Knowing Lee Sun was free, Chol-soo reiterated his promise to heal Lee Sun's arm if he completed the mission successfully. After hearing Geo's plan, Chin-sun began tailing a police officer but hesitated to kidnap him. Suddenly, the police chief appeared, forcing the two to flee. Chin-sun suggested delaying the plan, deeming the timing poor, but Geo lost patience and shocked him unconscious with electricity and decided to act alone. While the police were drinking, they spotted Geo outside. They chased him, cornering him in a dead end, but Geo effortlessly took down each officer, leaving only the chief. He abducted the chief to an empty room, torturing him to reveal Gu-rom's location. Meanwhile, Chol-soo manipulated Gu-rom, falsely accusing Geo of killing her parents. He promised to clear her murder charges if she lured Geo to him. Just then, Geo called Chol-soo, who stepped outside to answer and gave him a meeting point. Geo rushed to the location, unaware it was a trap set at Jung-ah's mansion. Chol-soo chose the site to use Geo to eliminate Jung-ah's men. Geo mercilessly killed subordinate after subordinate. One of them in panic alerted Jung-ah. Hearing this, Lee Sun was stunned. His lover Rana was at Jung-ah's mansion. Lee Sun sped to Jung-ah's mansion, but Geo had already wiped out her subordinates. As Geo ascended the stairs, Rana ambushed him and stabbed him in the stomach. Geo angrily snapped her neck, killing her instantly. When Lee Sun arrived, it was too late. Regretting not heeding Rana's plea to escape together, he sought vengeance. He tracked down Chin-sun and threatened him to lure Geo. Instead of betraying Geo again, Chin-sun bravely told the truth, prompting Lee Sun to brutally kick his face. By the time Geo arrived, Lee Sun had crushed Chin-sun's skull. Witnessing the gruesome scene, Geo's fury erupted, and he obliterated Lee Sun with a surge of electricity. Tragically, he couldn't save Chin-sun. Upon learning of Rana's death, Jung-ah was stunned. As Rana hadn't delivered the embryos, Dr. Jung-kwan dismissed the need for the eggs, revealing they had Geo's daughter as a new asset. To proceed, they needed to control Geo. Meanwhile, the director ordered his men to abduct Gu-rom, launching an assault on Chol-soo's group and killing Tae-oh. They easily captured Gu-rom. As they descended in an elevator, Geo spotted them. Desperate to save his wife, he was just a moment too late. Gu-rom was brought to meet Jung-ah and Dr. Jung-kwan, who claimed to be Geo's mother. They wanted to test how much of Geo's genes their daughter inherited. Piquing Gu-rom's curiosity, Dr. Jung-kwan explained why he created Geo, detailing the animal DNA fused into him. Hearing this, Gu-rom felt disgusted and vomited. Meanwhile, the police chief realized Gu-rom's brother knew too much and decided to eliminate him. At the last moment, he regretted it and tried to save him, but it was too late. The brother was dead. Just then, Geo arrived and used his powers to save the chief's life, easing his guilt. To make amends, the chief urged Geo to find Jung-ah, as Gu-rom was likely with her. After being defeated by Geo, Lee Sun was revived by Chol-soo, who injected him with another stimulant. Lee Sun furiously punched Chol-soo, blaming him for luring Geo to Jung-ah's mansion, which led to Rana's death. Chol-soo was manipulative as ever, insisting Lee Sun Lee-san needed him to defeat Geo. He outlined his plan to sell Geo to Japan for 10 billion won and offered Lee-san a drug to boost his strength fivefold, despite its life-threatening risks. Unfazed, Lee-san vowed that if he could take down Geo, he'd die without regrets. Following the police chief's tip, Geo quickly tracked down Jong-ah. With one hand, he lifted her off the ground, threatening her to reveal Gu-rom's location. She led him to his wife. At that moment, their daughter's powers erupted, shocking Gu-rom. Geo arrived, but Gu-rom suspected him of killing her parents, frantically driving him away. Despite his attempts to explain, her agitation overwhelmed her, so Geo locked her in a room and promised to set things right. He then confronted Jong-ah and Dr. Jung-kwan. Jung-ah revealed she was his biological mother, having provided the egg while Jung-kwan supplied the sperm to create him. Geo dismissed this, demanding they clear Gu-rom's false murder charges. Jung-ah brushed it off as trivial, insisting their daughter's inherited powers were what mattered. She warned that the world wasn't ready to accept the child, meaning she'd face a life of isolation like Geo. Dr. Jung-kwan proposed a solution: cloning thousands like Geo would normalize his existence, making him a revered figure as the origin of a new humanity, ensuring his daughter wouldn't grow up alone. This idea left Geo conflicted. Meanwhile, the police chief arrived at Jung-ah's mansion, where she was preaching to her followers, intent on eliminating her. He prepared to act, but a young man interrupted, accusing Jung-ah of swindling his entire fortune with promises of a supreme deity. As the young man moved to kill Jung-ah, Geo blasted him with electricity, sending him flying. Mistaking Geo for the rumored deity, the crowd bowed in reverence. Meanwhile, Gu-rom plotted her escape from the locked room, fighting off subordinates. But as she fled, she was recaptured. Geo found her, urging her to stop, then carried their daughter back to the mansion. He had decided to follow Dr. Jung-kwan's plan and explained it to Gu-rom. She was shocked, arguing it was akin to re-engineering humanity. But despite her protests, Geo remained resolute. At the same time, Chol-soo hired 4 new assassins to eliminate both Jung-ah and Geo, supplying Lee-san with a vial of strength-enhancing drugs. To advance Jung-kwan's plan, Geo allowed them to channel electricity through him to burn away weak cells, isolating the strongest ones for embryo implantation. Suddenly, he heard his daughter's cries. Rushing to Gu-rom's room, he found their daughter enveloped in green electricity. With Gu-rom's face bloodied, Jung-kwan explained that the child didn't recognize her mother because each electric surge killed weak cells, including brain cells, causing memory loss. Geo had suffered similar amnesia after using his powers until Lee-san's attack somehow stopped it. Dr. Jung-kwan explained that during Geo's fight with Lee-san, he had unleashed so much power that his body couldn't handle it, burning away all weak cells and leaving only the strongest, which preserved his memory. To prevent their daughter from losing her memory, they would need to subject her to electric shocks until she surpassed her limits. Hesitant but fearing she'd grow up not recognizing her parents, Geo tried to convince Gu-rom. She refused outright, vowing never to hand their daughter to those lunatics, even if it meant her death. Out of options, Geo shocked Gu-rom unconscious and took their daughter to Dr. Jung-kwan. Meanwhile, Lee-san led 5 assassins to Jung-ah's location. A fierce battle erupted without words. Jung-ah tried to flee but was caught. She stabbed Lee-san in the chest with a hidden knife when he let his guard down, but it had no effect. As he prepared to kill her, her bodyguards intervened. At the same time, Gu-rom awoke, biting her arm to distract the subordinates, who thought she was injured. When they approached, she swiftly knocked them out. As Geo prepared for the electric experiment on their daughter, Gu-rom stormed in, intent on rescuing her. Lee-san's subordinates infiltrated the lab, but Geo shielded Gu-rom, staying behind to fight and buy her time to escape. Empowered by the drug, Lee-san gained the upper hand, but Geo seized a chance to choke him. After a struggle, Lee-san passed out. As Gu-rom fled outside, she ran into the police chief. She instinctively kicked him and held him at gunpoint, but he revealed he was there to save her. He even took a knife wound for her. A subordinate tried to stop her, but Gu-rom shot him dead. The chief was then shot in the stomach. His protection shocked Gu-rom, and she quickly helped him out. By the time Geo caught up, she had driven away. In the car, police chief confessed his guilt, revealing that Geo was not the one who killed her parents but Chol-soo. As he finished, he took his last breath. Gu-rom was devastated and mourned him. Geo soon reached them, but Gu-rom panicked and fled, locking a door between them. Frustrated, Geo demanded answers. She admitted she feared him because he had put their daughter on the experimental table. She planned to leave with their child, believing it would free Geo from being a monster. Heartbroken, Geo pounded the door in vain. At that moment, Lee-san confronted him, determined to defeat Geo. Despite being given a chance to back down, Lee-san attacked with a knife. Geo left with no choice and killed him on the spot. Geo met with the director, asking her to mobilize her people to find Gu-rom, promising to meet any demand if she succeeded. Meanwhile, Jung-ah was shaken by Lee-san's threats, became erratic, and demanded Geo bring Chol-soo to her. her or she'd harm his wife and child. Enraged, Gio killed her on the spot. Dr. Jung Kwan reminded Gio not to abandon their plan for a new humanity. After leaving Gio, Gu Rome entrusted her daughter to her police colleague and began tailing Chol Su. When a fire alarm triggered, she attacked him. He resisted but was overpowered. Gu Rome interrogated him. Learning he killed her father for disrupting their research, she recorded the confession to incriminate him. Director's subordinates located Gu Rome and moved to capture her, but she fought them off fearlessly. Chol Su tried to flee, but Gu Rome caught and handcuffed him to a car, intending to deliver him to her colleague. After bidding farewell to the officer, Gu Rome was suddenly hit by another vehicle. A group of subordinates surrounded them, but her colleague risked his life to hold them off, creating an opening for her. A defiant subordinate struck Gu Rome, but he was suddenly shot. Her colleague stayed behind to buy time, allowing Gu Rome to grab her daughter and flee. Tragically, he was stabbed to death by the attackers. Meanwhile, Chol Su broke free from the handcuffs and began firing his gun. Director's men relentlessly pursued Gu Rome. Realizing she couldn't escape for long, and desperate to protect her daughter from being experimented on, Gu Rome released her child. A surge of green lightning enveloped the baby. At that moment, the subordinates caught up and Gio appeared. Seeing his wife brutalized, he furiously took down each attacker. From a nearby building, Chol Su aimed his sniper rifle at them. Gu Rome pleaded with Gio to abandon the new humanity plan, urging him to find a peaceful place for their family to live. Then she noticed a red laser dot targeting Gio. In the critical moment, Gu Rome shielded Gio and took the bullet meant for him. Chol Su then gunned down the director's remaining subordinates. As Gu Rome lay dying, she urged Gio to awaken and return to the man he once was. With her final words, she passed away. Despite his desperate attempts, Gio couldn't save her. Fueling his rage, he leaped to the adjacent building where Chol Su was. Chol Su fired at him, but the bullets were useless against Gio, who struck him down with a lethal bolt of lightning. In the film's closing, Dr. Jung Kwan sent his condolences to Gio. His daughter was found safe by a worker. The embryos carrying Gio's genes had been used for artificial insemination, signaling the dawn of a new humanity. This concludes the movie's plot. Thank you for following along, and until next time, goodbye.